Hold on.
Hi, everybody. Angie, will you let us know when we have a quorum? It doesn't look like we do just yet. Krista, do you know if anything has changed with Judge Ashby's schedule? You're muted.
Sorry about that. I know he's off the bench because he wrapped up his 3 o'clock matter. Let me reach out and send him a Teams chat to see if he, or an email, if he's going to sign on. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Just
Stevie?
stand by. Yep.
Sorry, we just need one more for a quorum.
Awesome, thank you.
Number 504. So what's yours? Was it her constant yelling?
So we're still waiting for one person to establish a quorum, and we're hoping that that person is our judge. I'm happy to chair if it's anybody else, just to get us rolling, but
I've not received a response back from my email that I sent to the judge yet.
okay.
It looks like Counselor Riley's joining, so we have a quorum now.
Okay, great. Devi, do you want to get rolling? I'm seeing the head nod. Yes, so great. Welcome everyone. I'm Nick Lelak. I'm the Deschutes County Administrator and Vice Chair, and I'm going to go ahead and kick us off as we wait for our chair, our presiding judge, Ashby. He will be joining us. We think here very, very shortly. We now have a quorum. I'm not sure we have introductions and membership items 2 and 3, and he had an item on here on the agenda for new members and transitions. Devi, is that something you're able to help us with?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, I think so. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Devi Holcomb. Mike Riley from City Council. I don't think we've met yet, so welcome to Lipsick. I don't think I've managed to be on a meeting when you are also here, so it's nice to see you. I'm the Director of
Yeah.
the Community Justice Department for the county. That agenda item has to do with our defense attorney representative, who is currently TJ Spear, but TJ is going to be transitioning off. And so within our bylaws, that position, I believe, Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, is a position that is appointed by Judge Ashby. So he will be working on that within the defense bar. But if you know anybody in the defense bar who is interested in participating, please forward that on to Judge Ashby. And TJ said he'll stay as able until we're able to transition off, but that's what that agenda item is about.
Great. Well, I'm always pleased to welcome Councilor Riley to any committee that we have. We've worked together for so many years in so many capacities. This is another one, so welcome.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Stevie.
And welcome everyone to our meeting. I am going to move into so I think we're good with introductions and membership. I'm going to move to agenda item number 4. Angie, do we have any public comments for this meeting?
We do not.
I'm not. Okay. Thank you very much, Angie. Let's move into agenda item number 5, our April 2025 minutes. If somebody has read the minutes and if we're comfortable with those, then I would entertain a motion to approve the April meeting minutes.
I move approval of the April 2025 meeting minutes. Second?
I can second. I remember. I'm happy to do that. Okay. Any discussion? Any comments on the minutes? Okay. Seeing none, I'll follow our Chair Ashby's protocol that if there are no objections, then we will consider the minutes. We will have the minutes be approved. Seeing no objections, the minutes are approved. So we have our primary agenda item today, which I am always pleased to welcome Trevor Stevens. I saw Trevor on here earlier. Oh, there he is. He's got his camera off. I'm sure he'll be coming on in a moment. This is our big topic of the afternoon. So Trevor Stevens, Community Justice, welcome. And I will turn the screen floor over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick, very much. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, everyone. Let's see. Can you see the slideshow? Perfect. Okay, so just wanted to thank everyone. We're here today to talk about the Justice Reinvestment Program. It's specifically the Victim Services Grant Award Program for the 25 to 27 biennium. I just want to take a second and thank everyone that was able to participate as part of the review committee. And we'll go ahead and get started. So let's see. The purpose of the presentation today is just to provide a brief overview of the applications. I'll also provide the subcommittee's recommendations, and then we'll need a Lipsick decision and approval on the percentages that we want to award to the Victim Services Grant applications. This is part of the Justice Reinvestment Grant. Just as a reminder, we received 10% of those funds for the Justice Reinvestment Grant to go to victim service agencies in Deschutes County. We have, this past year, we had five applicants who all received funds. And I'll give us a quick overview of our applications this year. So overall, we had the application process, which consisted of 11 questions, a total of 100 points. We received a total of 6 applications. We had requests totaling $326,000, and we anticipate about $150,000 in available funds. That may increase depending on what is available through competitive funding and other funds that Justice Reinvestment has, but I anticipate it's traditionally fell in that $150,000 to $180,000 range over the past couple bienniums. The applicants that we received applications from include Costs of Central Oregon, In Our Backyard, JBAR-J Anti-Trafficking Project, Kid Center, Mary's Place and their Saving Grace, Imagine Life Without Violence, and then Restorative Justice and Equity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you a brief overview of each application, what they requested, and then I'll move into the recommendations from the committee itself. So we'll start with CASA of Central Oregon. They requested 33% of the funds, or roughly $49,500. And just a note, the reason why we talk about it in percentages is because of the amounts change from 150,000, it may go up or down. It's better to award it as a percentage, so then we don't have to come back and make a different decision once we know what the total amount is. So requested was 33% based on the 150. That's roughly $49,500. And the service offering that CASA provides is they do the court-appointed special advocates. They're the CASA volunteers, and they advocate on behalf of children in foster care. They stay with each case until it is closed and the child's in a safe place, until the child is in a safe place and permanent home. The funding through Justice Reinvestment is to provide specific funds for FT that are their program coordinators. And the specific role for those coordinators are to recruit, train, and support CASA advocates. The target population is abused and neglected children in the court system, and this specifically for Deschutes County with these funds. The next application came from In Our Backyard. They requested 17%, which is about $25,500. Their service offering is that they work to fight human trafficking through education, mobilization, and partnership. And the funding that they would be using would be for their community resource center, and that's for human trafficking victims or those who may know victims. They provide resources and safe drop-in places. They have drop-in hours that would be paid for through this. They have online appointment scheduling, counseling, mentoring, resume building, referrals. The majority of the funds are for the counseling specifically, but it just really helps provide funding for their community resource center. Their target population is human trafficking victims. The next application was from the JBAR-J Anti-Trafficking Project. They requested 25% of the funds, so about $37,500. And they refer to themselves as the App Project, and they provide support to victims and survivors of human trafficking in Central Oregon. The project assists survivors by connecting them to community resources at any stage from crisis to stabilization. And the funds that they would be using are really focusing on housing preparation, so kind of getting those documents ready, any kind of debt that needs to be taken care of before moving into housing, transportation, housing access, working on those application fees, deposits, first month's rent, and furnishings, then housing retention, rent to utilities, legal assistance, and then just that really providing that housing navigation support and barrier reduction. And their target population is human trafficking victims in Central Oregon. The next application came from Kid Center. They requested 35% of the funds, which is roughly $52,500, and they provide comprehensive child abuse evaluations that include a head-to-toe medical exam, child-friendly forensic interviews, family advocacy, and mental health services to children and families impacted by abuse. All services are free to every family who needs them. They specialize in trauma-informed evaluations and treatment services to child victims of abuse. And they really focus around their low barrier comprehensive evaluation services for Deschutes County, which is about $5,400 per child. And the funds would be really going to help support the FT that provide those services. Their target population is children in Deschutes County who've experienced abuse. The next application came from Mary's Place, and they also are known as Saving Grace, Imagine Life Without Violence. They requested 66.67% of the funds, so about $100,000. The service offering is that Mary's Place offers supervised parenting time and supervised exchanges and prioritizes services for families where there has been intimate partner violence, sexual assault, child abuse, dating violence, or stalking. They really focus around trauma-informed supervised visitation for those victims and safe exchanges for families. They also provide direct referral services and connections to both internal and external resources. Their target population for these funds would be domestic violence and sexual assault victims. And then the other application we received was from Restorative Justice and Equity. They requested 40.67% of the funds, about $61,000. And Restorative Justice and Equity, they proactively support the implementation of restorative practices to promote an equitable, safe, and inclusive environment for all individuals within Central Oregon schools and communities. They would be focusing on victims restoration justice options. So basically offering an option for victims to engage in restorative justice process. They also would do facilitated community conversations, which were regular dialogue spaces to bring victims, neighbors, and partners to discuss the impact, safety, harm, and healing, and how to navigate that process. They also provide culture responsive outreach and resource navigation, where they collaborate with community partners to reach historically marginalized populations. And they really focus around like bias incident services is kind of the category that they'd fall into for the victim services in Deschutes County, specifically for victims that are located here in Deschutes County. So what the review committee did is they reviewed all those applications and then they scored them. And then what we did is we took all those scores and we averaged them out together. And then we also averaged out the presented recommendations. And so the recommendation from that review committee was to use those average scores and then use the averages that came from the recommended percentages and award based on that. So taking all of those out, you can see on this table here, that would result in CASA of Central Oregon receiving 17% of the funds, In Our Backyard receiving 6% of the funds, JBAR's J Anti-Trafficking Project receiving 18% of the funds, Kids Center receiving 25% of the funds, Mary's Place / Saving Grace receiving 26% of the funds, and Restorative Justice and Equity receiving 8% of the funds. And so then based on the award, we would allocate that based on those percentages is what the recommendation was from the review committee itself. So next steps for us is first I can answer any questions anyone has. If you have specific questions about, I can pull up the applications and just see if I can answer those. And then we can talk about different options. At this phase, you can either, LPSC has the option to kind of move forward with the recommended percentages, or they can make a discussion, have a good discussion and make any changes that they would to those recommended percentages. So I'll turn it over to Nick for that piece of this.
Great, thanks, Trevor. So let's just open it right up for questions, and then we can go right into discussion as well of any changes prior to any recommendations or motions.
Trevor, can you just go back to the previous slide so we can see that distribution again?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Trevor, do you just want to summarize those of us who were on the committee? Is that helpful just to share? I think.
Yeah, I can. So Nick Lelak was one of the members who provided scores for us. Devi Holcomb, Donna Mills provided scores, and then Sarah Crosswhite provided scores. Commissioner Chang had some time to review the applications, and he was in agreement with this. And so those are the individuals that provided the initial recommendations. And if any of those members want to provide any feedback, I open it up to them as well if they have any just information from that process that they can share with the group.
Yeah, I'm happy. This is Devi Holcomb. So, I think I was not at the meeting where we talked about this process again, but the historical way that this commission has reviewed these applications is to really honor if people are in agencies are serving victims in a way that's in keeping with the grant requirements, which is the state grant requirements. In a way, this is pass-through money that we're just trying to honor the state of Oregon's values here. And the choice, the tension we always have is, do we award just all the money or significant portions to just one or two applicants, or do we try to sort of spread the support around? And historically, we have spread that support around. So I think that is kind of reflected in this. And I'm not sure, Trevor or anyone else in the group, if there had been a prior decision that is what we would do if there was, this was just up to the committee. But basically all of these entities are serving victims. They're serving victims of crimes in our county. They're all doing really good work. I think the different scores are reflective of certainly just how clearly applicants are answering the prompts as usual. How many, for me personally, how many people were actually being served, what was that sort of bang for the buck, so to speak. But it's a really hard decision. They're all doing really great work. And I think that's my 2 cents of why this recommendation looks like it does.
Thanks, Devi. That's great, great feedback or great input into the process. I'll just see if I don't see Donna on. If anybody else wants to provide any comments, I certainly echo what you said. This was my first time serving in this capacity as a reviewer, so I learned a lot about each one of these organizations and gosh, I mean, their commitment and dedication to addressing all of the issues that they outlined in their applications. I'd love to fund them all fully. So definitely difficult decisions here, and some really, really stood out. And I think that's really reflected in the scores and the percentages that we have. But let me turn it over to and I won't put anybody on the spot, but if anybody else has reviewed applications, please jump in. And then also, let's just jump in. Anybody else that has questions or discussion?
Yeah, this is Joseph. I had an opportunity to review this course about a year ago or so. And just like you just said, they do a great job once you start really reading the blueprints and the work that they do in this community. It's really encouraging to see. Yeah, and they really deserve what the state is offering them here, what Leipzig is recommending. I guess my question, Trevor, is every time I've just been in Leipzig here for about 2 or 3 years now, but are they the same agencies? Do we have other agencies out there in this community that are involved in this work, or how do we even go trying to do they submit application? How does it work?
Yeah, so great question, Joseph. We kind of send it out. What we do is we send it out to all of the local treatment providers and those agencies, and then we have a list of all the different victims agencies we've kind of compiled that serve Deschutes County, and we include all of them on the initial solicitation that goes out by email. So I think it goes out to well over probably 150 individuals. So, and then that gets passed around from those individuals as well. I will say, all of these individuals are previous recipients other than restorative justice and equity. So CASA of Central Oregon, In Our Backyard, J-Bar-J Anti-Trafficking Project, Kid Center, and then Mary's Place all received funding last year and applied last year. This is the first time that restorative justice and equity has applied. And so this, and then, so that is the new, they're new to this application process. And these are all different agencies that that were likely on the email that went out when we sent it out for those individuals, so.
Yeah, I'm glad that, yeah, I saw them. I'm like, yeah, I didn't see them last year. It's like, wow, that's new. Kind of encouraging to see, other people really applying for the funds. Thank you.
Councilor Riley, it looks like you came off mute. I just want to recognize you.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the difference between the funding levels for In Our Backyard and J-Bar-J, since if I'm understanding right, they're generally serving the same audience with. Is there something there around numbers of served, or is there something that distinguishes that? Is it one's getting 3 times as much money? So.
I would defer to specific panel members for that. Based on their scores, they may have scored one higher just based on probably how they explain the application, but I would defer to specific panel members on I mean, from J-Bar-J, there was an 83 versus a 71. So the average scores, they just had a much higher average comparative to those ones.
Right.
Yeah, as a panel member, I did think that J-Bar-J did a significantly better job, and I don't have it open right in front of me to describe why, but a significantly better job in their application addressing the criteria and just a more compelling case for a higher percentage. And if I'm recalling correctly, based on your prior slide as well, they also requested more. And In Our Backyards was a good application, but to me it was just not quite at the same level in my opinion as J-Bar-J's. That was just me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, to me, it was just the combination, I think, of clarity of responses. As a reviewer, we've all been on review panels. As clearly as you can get what it answered to the question. I think it was more specific in terms of the outcomes and the actual services that were going to be provided. And I think for me, there was a little more clarity on individuals who truly were victims of crimes that had occurred, been alleged, been disposed of, adjudicated, and all that stuff, versus a slightly more vague description of how the others were being referred and what particularly the background was, which, given limited resources, that kind of fine tuning seemed required to me.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions or discussions about the percentages or any? And
Hey Nick, can I,
Yeah,
this is
please.
Gil, everybody, this is Gil, leaving, I'm with Kid Center, and I think I may be the only person on the meeting today that's kind of representing one of these organizations. And so I just wanted to say thank you to the folks that took the time to review these. And also just to say that I think every one of the organizations here is making a great contribution. And any allotment of these funds is going to be helpful to the collective work that's happening in the community. And so I just really appreciate it. And I mean, I think too, just as taking off the Kid Center hat for a second and just to Joseph's comment about, a new organization coming in, I think that's great. And it's good to see services expanding and different kinds of services targeting different victims, which is what we want to see. So just appreciate being able to be a part of it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And you, clearly you can tell by the scores, Kid Center submitted a very, very solid application. It was, in fact, for those of you, it's like, of 100 points, I think there was one category, and I don't have it right in front of me, where nobody was even eligible for the 10 points. So 87 is just about as high as we could go. It was almost 100% with the scores. A really, really great application. Thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions or just, I see. Oh, Nicole. Yeah, and Mary,
Yeah.
you had a great application, but let me turn it.
Yeah, I would like to second what we just heard and just thank this panel for the ongoing support. The work everybody here does, all these organizations do, is so important in our community. And so just thank you for the ongoing support.
And I am so pleased to welcome our chair, Ashby. I can continue this item, or I can turn the reins right over to you, whatever you prefer, Judge. Shoot. Well, Judge, you're not on mute. So I will just ask Trevor, if we don't see any additional comments or questions, can we go to the next slide again that had the decision points for us? There we are. Thank you. So just before we go, though, I want to make sure that to see if Judge Ashby has any input or contributions or discussion on this item. Okay, Judge turns his camera off. Okay, I don't want to go too far down this path. So let me just see if there's a motion to approve the recommendation provided by the panel, or if there's a motion to change the percentages. Any motion to move us forward with this agenda item.
This is Devi. I'm happy to move forward the recommended percentages on slide, whatever that is. Trevor, number whatever, we put that in the minutes.
Slide 10.
Slide 10, as recommended. So both the formula using the percentages as applied, and then what's the second vote there, Trevor?
If you can also, if any organization wishes to not continue, the percentage can be split up evenly among whoever is left.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So actually, it's just that fourth bullet point. That's my motion. Formal recommendation approval as the committee recommended for percentages. And if any organization does not wish to continue funding, we just redistribute based on existing funds.
I'll second.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. I saw Commissioner Chang came off mute as well. Did you have comments? Were you just coming off the second?
I was going to second, but the chief beat me to it. And I guess I just also express appreciation to all of the groups that applied, that are doing such important work in our community. And I wish there was more funds to distribute. And also appreciation to our review panel. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or discussion with the motion on the floor, and it's been seconded? Councilor Riley.
I just wanted to echo what Phil said. I mean, I'm familiar with most of these organizations and they all do really good work and very much appreciate everything they do for victims of crime in our community.
Thank you. And as we move toward a vote, I want to thank Trevor for all that you did to orchestrate the whole process for it and to answer my questions through the process and just make it a really smooth, easy, solid process. So Trevor, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, Nick.
So we can proceed as again. Well, let's just I guess let's raise a hand if you support the motion as proposed, and that includes me. We just need to see. I'm not sure how many votes we have, and who's all on the committee. So maybe it's complicated to. Angie, are you able to capture to see if we have a majority of the quorum present?
Actually, if we could have a
Thank you,
few, if we could have Sarah and Chief Krantz. Oh yeah, Chief Krantz, you've turned
Chief
your
Krantz
camera
did,
back
yep.
on.
And
That way
maybe Sarah, you
can-
can just give us a thumbs up or
I don't think I can turn my camera on. But yes, thumbs up.
Okay.
Verbal.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you. I didn't know if there was like one of those little reaction. I was trying to provide another option. So that's
Thank
great.
you.
That's just fine. Thank you. Any opposed? Pausing for a moment. Hearing none, the motion carries. So we now have that decision from Lipsick as required by Community Justice. Trevor, any final comments as we wrap up this item?
Nope. Awesome. I appreciate all everyone's time and thank everyone for moving this forward.
Great.
I could just make one comment, Nick, and that's
Yeah.
just that Gil Levy abstained from that vote because he represents one of the organizations as a recipient.
Great. Completely understand. Thank you. Okay, that concludes that agenda item. We are now on to agenda item 7, court update. I'm checking to see if Chair Ashby is with us, and if not, if Krista has any updates for us from the court. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious.
Let's see, Nick, can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can now. Yes, Judge. Great. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's almost like early COVID, and I'm here by phone because I can't get anything to work. So I apologize and thank you for taking over as chair. I will be brief. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who participated in our TCA hiring process. We have hired a TCA. Her name is Zoe Wild. We're really excited to bring her into our community. She's been a trial court administrator in the past, has extensive court experience at the state and federal level, and really think that she's going to fit so well with all of you wonderful people in terms of our relationships with our community partners. She will be here. Day one is going to be July 7th, and then we have to run up to Eugene for a quarterly PJTCA meeting with the chief and other folks. So her next week will be the first week. She's here full time, and a lot of people took a lot of time out of their schedule to help us do that. And I know that you all have other really important work, but I hope it shows you the value that we put on these relationships. We really want these folks to meet you through that interview process and really want your feedback because we have a great, team of justice partners, and so we want it to be a fit. So thank you for that commitment, and we are planning on hosting some type of event, likely that will include the bar, and we'll probably push something out to community partners as well, just to get to meet her in a casual environment. So I also had a chance to, for me, it was the first time to tour the expansion, the courthouse expansion, and I will admit to like Total Geek Fest, I was so thrilled. Didn't want to leave, wanted to, grab a sleeping bag and just kind of hang out on the first floor concrete, but I had to leave. But it really is exciting to see this thing going up. And I know DV was out there and Tanner was out there and Trevor was out there. It really is an amazing commitment by this community by our Board of County Commissioners, Nick, everyone who's been a part of this thing. It is going to be great. It is really going to serve our community so well, and was just filled with gratitude yesterday to see what we can accomplish in this community. So incredibly humbling and real cool, and otherwise things are going well. Chris, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Thank you, Judge Ashby. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to speak to the new trial court administrator coming in, so thanks for doing that. I have been very excited. I've been in both tours of the expansion, and it's so exciting to see it come from the ground up through that demo, through that first walkthrough that I had. There's concrete's been poured. We know what the space is looking like. So I have to agree with Judge Ashby. You know, we are the front facing of the judicial department here, and we have great community partners, and it's just wonderful to see what we all can do together, I think. And with that, I'll just turn it back over.
Thank you, Nick.
Great, thank you, Judge. Do you want me to complete the meeting?
Yeah, I'm not going to swing in the ninth inning and claim credit for the win. Bring us home.
Okay, I will do so. And we certainly appreciate the partnerships with completing the courthouse as well. And I want to be sure to include the city of Bend as they've been a critical partner for us. And Lee Randall and his team are just amazing. Everybody working through it, and it's going to be largely in place. You'll see most of the structures, by August when they'll begin to work on the inside. So very, very exciting to see that happen. Let's move into the last agenda item number 8, agency updates and other business. There's a lot happening in the community, in the legislature. I don't know if there are any updates folks want to provide.
Nick, happy to provide an unwelcome update in relation to community corrections funding. So the Public Safety Subcommittee of the Ways and Means Committee, which is the main body that hears almost all the public safety, as the name connotes, agency budgets, voted yesterday morning for a community corrections budget. So this is the budget for Deschutes County parole and probation, essentially, the supervision of folks who are convicted of felony offenses and some specified misdemeanor offenses. It's really the backbone of our funding. The agency budget that was the community corrections portion of the agency Department of Corrections, right? So it's a state agency. We get our kind of a download for this funding. It's called Grant and Aid. The portion for community corrections was funded at what they're calling a current services level budget, utilizing the most recent population forecast so who's going to be on supervision in the next 2 years, number of people, and a daily rate per person on supervision of $15 a day, more or less. And that is our current rate, which is why I think it's being called a current services level. This might be all well and good, but there's a couple of issues that are presenting some real potential challenges for Deschutes County Community Corrections, and that's kind of what I wanted to share. First off is our population has decreased in terms of the forecast. The statewide population has decreased from the previous forecast, and that's because the forecasters estimated that there would be a lot more individuals who were essentially failing deflection efforts or entering deflection efforts or being eligible for them, but then declining it and just going straight to supervision, because sometimes people do choose that. So there's a lot less of those folks in our system than we thought about 6 months ago. So at the most recent snapshot in April, that went down. So that's just kind of your base level of individuals. And Deschutes County is no different there, just kind of FYI. We actually have a relatively low number of deflection participants. So there's that. And then the other piece is that the funding per person, right? So our total pie kind of shrunk of people that kind of this funding is based on, which in one way is really great news, right? For the state, for public safety. But the per person rate that is our current rate of about $15 a day is nowhere near the actual cost in Deschutes County and in most other counties of doing that business. In fact, we know how much it costs per day. It's $18.18. Because, as the legislature requires, we did a actual cost study in 2024 as required. And that's kind of theoretically meant to match up what's your population, how much does it cost per day, shake it up, you get a whole total state amount, right? So with a difference of $3 per day per person, this is significantly lower than we had very high hopes it would be. I think it's a victim of all the uncertainty that is going on and just the tough choices that are being made. End result, though, if this budget as it sits now passes, and it's not over yet, of course, but I think we're at the second to the last phase here. I just don't see how we'll be able to make it through the biennium without some pretty significant services reductions. What those will be exactly, to what extent, I don't know, but I do think it's going to be noticeable to you as our partners, the level of supervision, potentially the number of folks we have, potentially, maybe more importantly or of more interest, the extent to which we can subsidize services such as housing or treatment for justice-involved individuals. So it's kind of a bummer. And again, it's in the context of a lot of other choices, and I don't imagine that we're the only agency that's going to be in this position. But I did just want to give that kind of flag that for y'all. We will let you know when we know anything for sure, but I just wanted to let folks know that's where we're at this time.
Thanks, TV. That's a really important and unfortunate update. And so you said the service reductions would not occur immediately. You said it would be in the middle of the biennium, so that it's some months down the road, but we don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, Nick. I think it does. I think it really is just going to depend on what it looks like when the gavel is struck at the end of the day. So I think we'll know pretty soon in July. And we've got, we budgeted very conservatively already, which is just it's really unfortunate. We've had really good luck in being pretty conservative as far as what we budget versus when we know. This year it didn't work out that way. So we're going to come in under what we've currently budgeted. So certainly there'll be some kind of budget, modification that's got to happen one way or the other. But we've got some savings. We've been saving for this rainy day. I think that's the expression. It's definitely raining. So we'll see what we can do.
Thank you. Any other agency updates or other business?
And Nick, I was gonna just kind of share a little bit also about Oregon Youth Authority. I'm sure most of you guys have been following on the news. So if you haven't heard yet, we've gone through tough times for the last several months here, and we're coming out of it. We don't have a director right now. We have somebody underfilling, Jana. She's our interim director right now, but I think the governor is going to be appointing one very soon. We are maybe looking in June, not June, mid-June, probably mid-June to the end of June. So that's what they are telling us, but that's the governor's office. But just almost like what Debbie has said, we are also going through budget issues. So it's just like any other agency that deals with people, the public. There's a lot of scrutiny, and maybe there's some work that we should have done better, and some work that need to be done. So I just thought I should just give that information to the LipSync members, and I just appreciate working with everybody, and that's all. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Joseph. Any other agency updates or other business? I'm not seeing any. So that will conclude our meeting for June. We are currently scheduled, I believe, for a July meeting. That is likely the week of the 4th of July. So I'm not sure what our attendance may be like. It may be August before we meet again, but I'm certainly not willing. I won't make that call myself. That'll be something I'll coordinate on with Judge Ashby and Devi. We'll coordinate on that for the next month. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful June. We're going to hope for the best for the legislature and other key decisions going forward. And with that, we'll adjourn today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick.
Everyone.